What's something people don't know about mental illness? It often shows up in ways we might not expect. Let's uncover the signs together. Spotting mental illness can be tricky, but some signs stand out. Persistent mood changes like sadness, anxiety, or irritability can be red flags. Notice any behavioral shifts? Withdrawing from social interactions or changes in sleep and appetite might be the culprit. Cognitive changes are crucial too. Trouble concentrating, making decisions, or remembering things can indicate an issue. Watch for unexplained physical symptoms like headaches or fatigue, which might not have a medical cause. Social withdrawal, a big warning sign. Keep an eye on increased substance use. It's often a coping mechanism. Struggling with daily tasks or feeling overwhelmed? Another sign to consider. Unusual thoughts or behaviors, or even thoughts of self-harm or suicide, should never be ignored. If you or someone you know is showing several of these signs, encourage seeking help from a mental health professional. Remember, mental health matters just as much as physical health. Seeking support is a sign of strength.
Hey there! Today I'm diving into a topic that's both complex and incredibly important: mental illness. What really causes it? Well, it's not just one thing, it's a mix of genetic, environmental, and social factors. So let's break it down. First up, genetics. If you have a family history of mental illness, your chances of experiencing it yourself are higher. Certain genes may make you more susceptible, but remember, having these genes doesn't guarantee you'll develop a mental illness. Next, environmental factors. These can include anything from exposure to toxins and poor nutrition to head injuries and prenatal exposure to harmful substances. Even things like viruses and toxic chemicals can play a role. It's like a puzzle with many pieces. Now let's talk social factors. Society often has unrealistic expectations. For example, the pressure to look a certain way can be overwhelming. Cultural norms can definitely affect mental health. Life experiences also matter. Adverse childhood experiences like trauma or abuse can have long-lasting effects. And ongoing medical conditions, they can be a big stressor too. Imagine dealing with cancer or diabetes on top of everything else. Brain chemistry is another key player. Chemical imbalances in the brain can disrupt how you feel and think. Neurotransmitters, the brain's messengers, might not be doing their job properly. It's like a miscommunication in your brain. Substance use is another factor to consider. Alcohol, marijuana, stimulants, and hallucinogens can all impact your mental health. It's a slippery slope that can lead to bigger issues. And then there's loneliness. Feeling isolated or having few friends can seriously affect your mental well-being. Humans are social creatures. We need connection. One thing I want to make absolutely clear: mental disorders are not caused by character flaws. It's not about being weak or lacking willpower. It's a complex interplay of various factors. So, in summary, mental illness is caused by a combination of genes, environment, social pressures, life experiences, brain chemistry, substance use, and loneliness. It's important to recognize this complexity and approach mental health with empathy and understanding. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on mental health and well-being. Take care and stay informed.
Severe mental illnesses, or SMIs, are health conditions that deeply affect our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Imagine a spectrum of mental well-being. SMIs are at the far end of this spectrum, representing more serious and persistent challenges. These illnesses can make it difficult to cope with daily life, maintain relationships, and function at work or school. It's important to remember that SMIs are not a sign of weakness. They are real medical conditions, just like heart disease or diabetes. With proper care and support, people with SMIs can live fulfilling lives. There are different types of SMIs, each with its unique characteristics. Some common ones include schizophrenia, which affects how a person thinks, feels, and perceives the world. People with schizophrenia may experience hallucinations, like seeing or hearing things that aren't there, and delusions holding false beliefs. Bipolar disorder causes extreme shifts in mood, energy, and activity levels. Individuals may experience periods of intense highs, called mania, and lows, known as depression. Major depression is more than just feeling sad. It's a pervasive sadness that affects daily life, making it difficult to find joy or motivation. Anxiety disorders involve excessive worry and fear that can interfere with daily activities. Examples include generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and social anxiety disorder. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD, involves recurring, unwanted thoughts, known as obsessions, and repetitive behaviors, called compulsions, to alleviate anxiety. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, can develop after experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event. Symptoms include flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety. Borderline personality disorder affects how a person thinks and feels about themselves and others, often involving unstable relationships, intense emotions, and impulsive behaviors. Each SMI manifests differently, but there are some common signs to watch for. Changes in mood, such as prolonged sadness, excessive worry, irritability, anger, or apathy. Withdrawal, like isolating oneself from others. Neglecting relationships or losing interest in activities once enjoyed. Difficulty concentrating, including problems with focus, memory, or decision-making. Unusual thoughts or behaviors, such as seeing or hearing things that others don't. Paranoia, delusions, or compulsive rituals. Changes in sleep or appetite, such as significant weight loss or gain, insomnia, or excessive sleeping. If you notice these signs in yourself or someone you care about, it's crucial to seek professional help. Early detection and treatment are essential for managing SMIs effectively. Section 4. No two minds are alike. Individual experiences. It's important to remember that severe mental illness symptoms can vary greatly from person to person. Even within the same diagnosis, individuals may experience different combinations of symptoms, severity levels, and triggers. This diversity highlights the importance of personalized care. What works for one person may not work for another, and treatment plans should be tailored to each individual's unique needs. Section 5. Finding the right path. Treatment for severe mental illness. While there is no one-size-fits-all cure for severe mental illness, effective treatments are available. These often involve a combination of approaches. Medications can help manage symptoms by correcting chemical imbalances in the brain. These may include antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, and anti-anxiety medications. Talk therapy provides a safe and supportive space to explore thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Different types of therapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, can help individuals develop coping mechanisms and improve their quality of life. Healthy habits, such as regular exercise, a balanced diet, and sufficient sleep, can positively impact mental well-being. Connecting with others who understand the challenges of severe mental illness can provide valuable support and reduce feelings of isolation. Finding the right treatment plan may require trial and error, but it's crucial to persevere. With patience and persistence, individuals with severe mental illness can find relief and live fulfilling lives. Section 6. A hopeful tomorrow, living well with severe mental illness. Living with a severe mental illness can be challenging, but it's essential to remember that hope and recovery are possible. With the right treatment, support, and self-care, individuals with severe mental illness can manage their symptoms, achieve their goals, and live meaningful lives. Remember, reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. By working together, we can create a more understanding and supportive world for those living with severe mental illness.
Welcome to today's video, where we explore temporary mental health issues that can arise due to specific life events or stressors. These conditions are often transient but can significantly impact one's well-being. We're going to take a straightforward look at these issues, what they are, how they manifest, and what you can do about them. These mental health challenges can feel overwhelming, but the good news is they are often temporary and treatable. We'll cover adjustment disorders to burnout so you can recognize the signs and get the help you need. Remember, acknowledging the problem is the first step toward a solution. So let's talk about adjustment disorders. These occur when something big happens in your life, something that throws you off balance. Maybe it's a divorce, a job loss, or the death of a loved one. With adjustment disorder, the feelings of sadness, anxiety, or anger stick around longer than you'd expect. They start to interfere with your daily life, your work, your relationships, your ability to just function. You might find yourself withdrawing from friends and family, feeling hopeless, or having trouble concentrating. This is not a sign of weakness. It simply means you need a little extra support to navigate this rough patch. The key here is recognizing the signs and getting the help you need. You don't have to go through this alone. Now let's delve into something a little more intense: acute stress disorder. This one pops up after you've experienced or witnessed something truly traumatic. We're talking about things like car accidents, natural disasters, or violent assaults, events that shake you to your core. With acute stress disorder, those feelings stick around and start to mess with your life. You might have flashbacks, nightmares, or intrusive thoughts that take you right back to the trauma. You might start avoiding anything that reminds you of what happened: places, people, even conversations. You might also feel constantly on edge, like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Trauma leaves a mark, but it's important to remember that healing is possible. With the right support, you can process the trauma, manage the symptoms, and reclaim your life. Now, this next one is a bit more serious: brief psychotic disorder. It sounds intimidating, but the good news is it's usually temporary. It's characterized by a sudden onset of psychotic symptoms. We're talking about things like hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that aren't really there, and delusions, having beliefs that aren't based in reality. This disorder often rears its head after a period of intense stress, like a major life change or a traumatic event. It's crucial to approach this with compassion and understanding. Seek professional help immediately if you or someone you know is exhibiting these symptoms. Let's talk about substance-induced disorders. This one's all about the impact that drugs and alcohol can have on your mental state. Using substances to cope can backfire big time. Drugs and alcohol can mess with the delicate balance of chemicals in your brain, leading to mental health problems. We're talking anxiety, depression, mood swings, even hallucinations. These symptoms are usually temporary, meaning they fade away once the substance is out of your system. But the relief they provide is temporary too. It's a slippery slope, and it can be tough to climb out of. Now let's talk about situational depression. This one's all about how major life changes and stressful events can bring you down. With situational depression, those feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and loss of interest stick around and start to interfere with your daily life. You might find yourself withdrawing from friends and family, having trouble sleeping or struggling to concentrate. You might even feel physically drained and exhausted all the time. But here's the good news. Situational depression is often temporary. Once you start to adapt to the change or stressor, the symptoms usually begin to lift. Now, let's talk about burnout. Burnout isn't technically classified as a mental illness, but it's a serious issue nonetheless. It often creeps up on you when you're in a demanding job or role. Doctors, nurses, teachers, caregivers. You know who you are. You push yourself, you pour your heart and soul into your work, and then one day you wake up feeling emotionally drained, physically exhausted, and completely cynical. You're just going through the motions, folks, just phoning it in. Burnout can manifest in a lot of different ways. You might feel detached from your work and the people around you. You might start to doubt your abilities and feel like a complete failure. But here's the thing about burnout. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you've been strong for too long. Look, we've covered a lot of ground today, but if there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's this: you are not alone. These temporary mental health challenges can feel overwhelming, but remember, they are just that, temporary. And with the right support, you can get through them and come out stronger on the other side. If you or someone you know is struggling, don't hesitate to seek help from a mental health professional. Thanks for watching, and take care of your mental health.
We often hear the word trauma tossed around, but its impact runs deep, especially when it becomes a long-term companion. Complex PTSD, or CPTSD, is a condition that can develop after prolonged exposure to trauma. We're not talking about a single event here, but rather a series of events, often in childhood, that leave deep scars on the psyche. Think of ongoing abuse, neglect, or witnessing violence. Today, we'll explore the causes and symptoms of CPTSD to help you better understand this condition. We'll delve into the science behind it, the ways it shows up in people's lives, and most importantly, what you can do if you or someone you know is struggling. Remember, Knowledge is power, and understanding CPTSD is the first step towards healing. Imagine this. You're going about your day and suddenly, it's as if you've been transported back to the source of your trauma. The sights, sounds, even smells feel incredibly real. These aren't mere memories, they're flashbacks, and they're a hallmark of CPTSD. These flashbacks can be so vivid that you might momentarily lose touch with the present, feeling like you're reliving the trauma all over again. This can lead to intense fear, anxiety, and even physical symptoms like a racing heart or sweating. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? For someone with CPTSD, these memory lapses can be more frequent and intense. It's not just about forgetting where you put your keys. It's about drawing a blank on significant chunks of the traumatic experience, or even struggling to recall everyday details. This can be incredibly disorienting and frustrating, leading to a sense of being detached from one's own life. CPTSD can shake the very foundation of who you believe yourself to be. It's common for individuals to develop a distorted sense of self, grappling with feelings of worthlessness, shame, or a deep sense of being fundamentally flawed. This can manifest as an inability to trust your own judgment, a constant need for external validation, or even difficulty recognizing yourself in the mirror. It's as if the trauma has clouded your perception of who you truly are. Chapter 4. Life with CPTSD can feel like an emotional roller coaster. One minute you might be relatively calm, and the next you're overwhelmed by anger, sadness, or fear. This difficulty regulating emotions is a common thread in CPTSD, making it challenging to navigate everyday situations. Imagine a pot of water constantly simmering on the stove. Any little thing can make it boil over. Chapter 5. Imagine constantly feeling like you're walking on eggshells, your senses on high alert, bracing for danger that may or may not be present. This is the reality of hyperarousal, a core symptom of CPTSD. It's that feeling of being easily startled, jumpy, or on edge, even when you're supposed to feel safe. Your body is stuck in fight or flight mode, making it difficult to relax and feel at ease. Chapter 6. We often think of trauma's impact as purely psychological, but the mind and body are deeply interconnected. For many with CPTSD, the experience of trauma can manifest physically, often in the form of unexplained stomach issues. Chronic stress and anxiety can wreak havoc on the digestive system, leading to persistent stomach aches, nausea, or changes in bowel habits. These physical symptoms can further fuel the cycle of anxiety and distress. Sleep, that precious time for our minds and bodies to rest and recharge, becomes a battleground for those with CPTSD. Sleep disturbances are incredibly common, ranging from difficulty falling asleep to frequent nightmares that transport you back to the traumatic experience. It's as if your trauma follows you even into your dreams, robbing you of the restorative power of sleep. This lack of restful sleep can further exacerbate other symptoms like fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. Human beings are wired for connection, but CPTSD can make forming and maintaining healthy relationships incredibly challenging. Trust, a cornerstone of any relationship, can feel like an insurmountable hurdle. Individuals with CPTSD might struggle with emotional intimacy, fearing vulnerability or re-experiencing the pain of past betrayals. This can lead to a pattern of withdrawing from others or struggling to maintain long-term, fulfilling relationships. When faced with reminders of trauma, it's natural to want to avoid anything that might trigger those painful memories. For individuals with CPTSD, this avoidance can become a way of life, leading them to steer clear of certain places, people, or activities that might stir up the past. While this might offer temporary relief, in the long run, avoidance can significantly shrink one's world, limiting opportunities for joy, connection, and personal growth. Imagine carrying the weight of unprocessed trauma, the constant emotional pain a heavy burden to bear. It's understandable that some individuals with CPTSD might turn to substances like drugs or alcohol to numb the pain, seeking temporary solace and escape from their inner turmoil. However, substance use often becomes a maladaptive coping mechanism, potentially leading to addiction and further complicating the journey towards healing. CPTSD can chip away at your sense of self-worth, leaving you feeling inadequate, unworthy, and plagued by self-doubt. The experiences that contribute to CPTSD often involve messages of blame, shame, or worthlessness, which can become deeply ingrained in one's self-perception. This negative self-image can impact various aspects of life, from relationships to career aspirations, creating a vicious cycle of self-sabotage. The impact of trauma extends far beyond our thoughts and emotions. It can manifest in our physical health as well. Living with the chronic stress of CPTSD can take a toll on the body, increasing the risk of developing various health problems. This might include heart disease, autoimmune disorders, chronic pain, and a weakened immune system. When faced with reminders of trauma, it's natural to want to avoid anything that might trigger those painful memories. For individuals with CPTSD, this avoidance can become a way of life, leading them to steer clear of certain places, people, or activities that might stir up the past. While this might offer temporary relief, in the long run, avoidance can significantly shrink one's world, limiting opportunities for joy, connection, and personal growth. In the aftermath of overwhelming trauma, the mind sometimes employs protective mechanisms that can feel incredibly disorienting. Depersonalization and derealization are two such responses, creating a sense of detachment from oneself or the surrounding world. It's as if you're watching yourself from outside your body or experiencing the world through a foggy haze. Chapter 15. Negative self-perception and thoughts of suicide. When hope feels lost. CPTSD can cast a long shadow, leading to persistent negative thoughts about oneself, a sense of hopelessness, and in severe cases, thoughts of suicide. The emotional pain can feel unbearable, leaving individuals feeling trapped and desperate for relief. If you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts, please know that you are not alone and help is available. Reach out to a crisis hotline, mental health professional, or a trusted friend or family member. Chapter 16. Unexplained headaches. The physical toll of stress. Stress, a constant companion for those with CPTSD, can manifest in various physical ways, including frequent headaches. These headaches can range from tension headaches to debilitating migraines, adding another layer of discomfort to an already challenging experience. Autoimmune conditions, when trauma affects the immune system. The impact of trauma goes far beyond our immediate emotional responses. Research increasingly shows a strong link between trauma and autoimmune conditions. Chronic stress can dysregulate the immune system, increasing the likelihood of developing autoimmune disorders, where the body mistakenly attacks its own tissues. This highlights the interconnectedness of our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Outro: seeking help and finding healing. Understanding the causes and symptoms of CPTSD is the first step towards seeking help and finding effective treatment. If you or someone you know is struggling with these symptoms, please reach out to a mental health professional. There are effective therapies, such as trauma-focused therapy, that can help individuals process their trauma, develop coping mechanisms, and regain a sense of control over their lives. Remember, healing is possible, and you don't have to suffer in silence.